And everyone, welcome to another episode of Postmodern Politics on the Lords of War podcast. We have amazing people on this network, including Enrique Tario, Bobby Pickles, Ethan Nordine, Zach Reel. A lot of wonderful people. You should check out this podcast. But for now, we are interviewing Kim Coulter, and she has an interesting story that she is going to share about Aaron Carter. Kim, to you.
So it's a bit of an anecdotal story, but it's in light of what's been going on these days. So we'll tie that in for you at the end. But I had been this is concerning Aaron Carter. For those of you who are not familiar, he was Justin Bieber before Justin Bieber happened, and he was the heartthrob for a lot of the young millennials, and I was had the opportunity to meet Aaron Carter when he did a tour. He was nearby. The meet and greet tickets were relatively cheap. I hopped on the opportunity because I had met him once or twice before. When I met him, this is where this got dicey. So I had the meet and greets. We were all getting to know him. One of the people I was with was an English speaking teacher, I believe in Brazil, and he used Aaron Carter songs in order to teach these little kids English. So he was showing videos to Aaron Carter, and I overheard him when he didn't think anyone was listening saying something rather untoward about these obviously very, very young children. I think the oldest in the video is like 6 years old, 7 years old. So, and I heard him mentioning something about like, oh, we should find out, who these kids are. And it obviously rubbed me the
Whoa,
wrong
whoa, whoa,
way.
wait a second. I don't mean to cut you off, but you said 6 to 7 years old.
Yeah, I mean, like, they were not even teenagers. Like, they were obviously like little kids.
So that kind of, makes me stir a little bit
Right.
because when somebody, and I also love Aaron Carter, I
Mm-hmm.
love everything about him. I mean, we both grew up in the same era where,
Exactly.
I was listening to Casey Kasem uh, on the radio and give me the top 20 people that were uh, able to hit the Billboard top 100. So, what happened?
Well, I mean, obviously, not obviously. Well, at the time, I had just started getting into political reporting. I had just started doing investigative reporting. So I had, the little voice in the back of my head, like, follow this lead. And I started talking to the other people who were at the VIP because he had known one of the other girls there. She had mentioned that she'd been going to these for a long time, and after a bit of just hanging out and talking to her, she had admitted to me that she had been meeting up with Aaron Carter since she herself was a young girl and like doing drugs with him and having sex with him. And so once I had that lead, it was like, okay, so there's definitely something here. And if he's willing to hook up with, young girl, I mean, he's not that much different in age than either of us,
So,
or
so,
he
so,
wasn't.
so
But if he was hooking up with teenagers when he was, 17, 18 or whatever, like, how young is he willing to go? And I think it's only speculation. I can only say based off of like how his attitude was towards, and I can't explain to you the way he was looking at these pictures, but it was like a dog looking at a steak. It was really like disturbing.
God, that is absolutely disgusting. And when you were in that situation, or when the person you were talking to was in the situation, I mean, do we kind of transfer all this stuff to P Diddy? We're talking about P Diddy right now,
Well,
and
I
I've
think
heard
the P Diddy connection comes in when you think about how Aaron Carter died, because Aaron Carter drowned in his bathtub, and who else? We just spoke about this, Jacob. Who else drowned in their bathtub that is related to
Kim
P Diddy?
Porter.
And what was Aaron
Boom.
Carter's last message on Twitter before his passing? He was reaching out to Ye, and he was saying we should have a conversation. So, again, if it's scratching at the door of conspiracy, and there's a lot of alleging to be done there with not that much substantial evidence other than pattern recognition, basically. But The fact of the matter is, I have confirmed since then at least two people who, one, I know was an underage girl when they started hooking up, and two, I have another person who had testified himself that he had seen inappropriate material on Aaron's phone. So I think that I believe in my heart that
But do you think, I'm not trying to cut you off, but do you
mhm,
think that's not the culture in terms of, somebody gets put in these sexual situations, like somebody by the name of Aaron Carter,
yeah,
or Michael Jackson or Justin Bieber. They
yeah,
get put in that situation, and then they perpetuate the abuse, and they keep going on and on and on. And some point in their life, it's like a grenade gets pulled, boom,
right.
and then they start behaving in that way. And I don't agree with it. I don't uh, co-sign on it. I think it's disgusting. But there is a psychological aspect to this, where somebody who has experienced these things, is mentally
Right.
prepared to do the same things to other people.
Well, I carry no sympathies once you become an active pedophile. Once you become an abuser, then you can get the millstone with the rest of them. But I do have empathy for what led to that situation, and I do have empathy for what brought him there. And I think I said the same thing twice. But I really do believe that Aaron was sold into fame. In He was sold into fame that was masquerading as the motive, when the real motive was to have little boys to take advantage of. We know that that was the case with NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys, and we know that Nick Carter was a part of that. And we know about all of that that was going on. So to believe that Aaron Carter was separated from that is naive at this point. We know that he was abused from a very young age. We know he was being passed around in entertainment, and you could honestly tell, you could even see it in the mirrored in the way that Justin Bieber's kind of having his own little meltdown right now. Like, their behaviors were very similar, and that's not because they're famous, that's because they're both victims of abuse. They're both serious victims of abuse that have been suffering abuse since they were children. And
But does it mean, if you're a victim of abuse, that you can abuse other people? That's where
No,
I draw the
it
line.
doesn't. It doesn't mean that you have a pass for doing so, but your probability of turning out to be an abuser is substantially higher than somebody who was never abused and never received any childhood trauma of that nature. So you have to take so when they talk about pedophilia being like a mental illness, that's the only instance in which I will accept that that's reality. Because it's literally it's vampiric in the sense that it is given to you. You are
Correct.
bitten, so to speak, and that's how you get the proclivities towards these behaviors, is through social vampirism in the form of rape of a child. And
But
again, it's tragic, but a lot of those people never become abusers. And it's unfortunate people like Justin Bieber, people like Aaron Carter, they basically exist in that bubble where it was okay when they were kids, and they kind of get desensitized to it very young, and they're in a situation where they're offered up people. It's not even like they have to go out and find people.
well,
Like,
see,
they're,
see,
they're
see, see.
idolized universally. And they sort of have their pick of the crop, and that's a very crude way to put it, but everything is offered to them easily. They're drugged up from very young ages. They start having alcohol problems at very young ages, and they start going to these parties, these P Diddy parties. um and guess what? Bad things happen, and they are so in this for their entire lives, and it's so normalized, and it's just so consistent that by the time, you're what, in your 20s, you've been on drugs since for the last decade of your life, and you've had, managers and all sorts of people shoving pills down your throat, giving you alcohol, giving you
Yep.
women, giving you boys, whatever. um and it's hard to break out of that in that kind of situation. So, and again, in that
So
sense, I
so
do empathize a little more. But once you become an abuser, it's kind of that's kind of the end of the line for you.
it's kind of the end line, and I agree. I'm not giving any quarter or space for somebody who is an abuser, whether you're a man, woman, child, anything else in between. You do not deserve to be abused. But you look at somebody like Justin Bieber, who sits there and says, "Oh my God, oh, I'm with this Christian church." And they go up here and they jump up and down and they have a good time. And he says, "Oh, I found God." Okay, cool, dude. But what I think everyone listening needs to understand is that somebody like Justin Bieber has been repeatedly raped and abused by P. Diddy, by Usher, and all these people. And so when we also look at the fact of what you're talking about, Kim, is there is no excuse when you are somebody who is a victim to come out there and be an abuser. There's something in your brain up here, and whether you believe in God or not, the flying spaghetti monster, I don't care who it is, something in you should sit there and say that I am not going to abuse a child. I am not
Hmm.
going to abuse somebody who has no right to be involved in any sexual activity, point blank, period. So,
Correct.
I mean, Hollywood is so infested by these people who think this is okay. Okay, cool. Okay, go and do this. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Because I have a real hard time wrangling the idea and trying to understand how these people who have millions of dollars, they're in big homes, they have the ability to rule over people, and then they just say, "Oh well, it doesn't matter. It's just a 12-year-old." Fuck you.
Well, think about the it's like a similar circles as the Epstein people. In that a lot of them, I believe, were probably blackmailed. Wherein, you're known for liking to party, you're known for liking to enjoy lavish things, and you get invited to the inner circle. And once you're in the inner circle, they say, "Hey, how about you get on this private jet and we'll go to this private island?" And then you go on the private jet and you do the drugs and you drink and you have fun and you get to the private island, and oh my goodness, this pretty girl, she's getting put in your lap. Oh, you guys have a good time. You wake up, you're hungover, you're whatever from the drugs, and they hand you this thing and they're like, "By the way, she was 12 and you're fucked, and we have it on tape, and now you're going to do and say whatever we want, and we own you for the rest of your life." And
Yeah, but
who knows who knows is willing versus
shouldn't you
who.
know, motherfucker?
Yeah,
Shouldn't
I
you know
agree.
if
I
somebody
I
if
mean,
somebody
it's,
comes
12 is a bit egregious of a example, but I'm
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, it um you know, a lot, who knows how many are like that and how many are people who knowingly went into the situation. They have the code words, about the pizza and the hot dogs and all of that other stuff. So, and that's, bit they've like teased at that a lot in entertainment, talking about that, like having tens of thousands of dollars worth of, pizza.
Well, and
Okay.
it's
Um
like so weird. It's so weird, Kim, because you know, do I disagree in certain parts of the Diddy trial that's happening right now? If grown adults are engaging in these swinger activities, in
yeah, who cares?
these who cares? I don't
Yeah, I
care.
don't care. I don't want to hear
Doesn't
about it,
matter.
honestly. I don't give a shit. Like, until like, and that unfortunately seems what's going to happen in these trials, is that they don't seem to have anything substantial to lead to, like, to human trafficking, or at least they're not coming forward with anything. Um and that again, we know Comey's daughter is, in charge of this as well. So how much
And
can we really.
And you make a great point. Comey's daughter is in charge of it. What a fucking literal, and I'm sorry, everyone, what a literal fucking cunt. Like,
Mhm.
she is. so ingrained in this idea, in this messaging, that she wants to dethrone Trump, and Comey posts this whole thing. And you're the former director of the FBI, and I met Laura Loomer at the protest in 2017. In 2017, protesting Comey's book signing, where he's like, "Oh my God, I'm an FBI man. Oh, it's so great. Oh my God, Trump's horrible. And fuck you, dude. Like, what 8647 means. I'm not gonna play around with you. This is not some normal person on the street that knows what 86. What has it been? It's called 8647. And Ben, um, I will tell you, you know, all right, there we go. Ben, what do you think 8647? 86. When I tell you to 86 something, what happens? It goes into the garbage can.
Yeah.
It's
Or we don't
dead.
have any. We're out of stock. We don't have it. It's gone. Right.
Correct. And this is just a horrible, horrible, horrible situation. So we want to talk about the issue of Aaron Carter. And Aaron Carter engaged in trying, according to you and your sources, tried to engage in the, what it seems to me, when you said what you said, the trafficking of minors, like
It
getting
seemed as if
people.
it was a concept he seemed familiar with. He was I mean, we know that Aaron Carter used to travel around the world to perform, so that's not new news. And the way he kind of, okay, so he was talking to, I don't know if it was his assistant, his producer, somebody who was just helping him on tour. I wish I had taken a picture of that guy, now that I'm thinking in retrospect. But he had kind of leaned over and showed him and was like, "Oh, we got to figure out how to link up with these kids." And it was like,
link
it was
link
very
up
sketchy.
how? Link up how? What is linking up?
Exactly. Why would you need to link up with small children in a foreign country? I don't know. It's just strange to me. But as I was saying before, I think that Aaron Carter was a victim of abuse. I think that he had severe mental problems. There was video that I had saved where he was on a live stream and he was throwing pills out of his window and like joking about people finding them and overdosing. He was clearly a very mentally unstable person. So when he overdosed, nobody questioned it. But I think that with a child on the way, he was having a crisis of consciousness. And I think that he was seeing what was happening with Trump and he was seeing people talk about Epstein. And I think that he was, again, feeling guilty about his own past. And
It's
I
just like
think,
KMS time, right?
yeah, I think that him reaching out publicly to Ye was a part of an actual effort to maybe turn a leaf and maybe try to make it so that his child who's now coming into the world wasn't going to be met with the same kind of fate that he was forced into at a very young age. And again, this is just a theory that I have, but I think that anybody who has even slightly decent pattern recognition could understand um, what happens in the cycle of abuse and what happens um you know when maybe you're having your own kid and you start to realize like how deeply troubled your own life has been, and you start to see like your own patterns of misbehavior.
Well, and I actually have a really interesting story. Years ago, right before, I can actually quantify the date and the time, but it was actually before there was this KMS situation with Aaron Carter. He had an event or a concert in Florida, and you know, I did a lot of cocaine with him. And I could tell that he was a very sad person.
Yeah.
When I do cocaine, I'm like the most chill person. I'm
Mhm.
just here. I'm like a little fairy, like going around. Okay, okay, okay. You can have cocaine. Um, but he was obviously trying to engage in escapism. And some
Yeah,
people do that through video games, and some people do that through other means. But I don't know, Kim. We're talking about this here because, you know, he as a person is not a bad person. What happened to
for
him
sure.
is bad.
Hmm.
How he internalized that and acted upon it is horrible. This
I
is
mean,
a
I think there are
horrible
definitely
situation.
there are definitely elements of him that make him a that had made him a bad person. Like I said, there was more. I have a lot of it on my old computer. If we ever want to go through it, we totally can. I have a lot of the saved videos where he would literally like drive inebriated through his neighborhood and like throw pills out of his window and like just be like on his lives, like obviously like really intoxicated. He like live streamed multiple fights with his girlfriend. Like he
Which is
was
not
just like,
illegal.
no, it's not illegal, but I'm just saying like he wasn't necessarily like a good person. Like I wouldn't say like he had a good moral compass.
No,
Um
and so Kim, the other thing I wanted to discuss is the fact that you, as a journalist, have broken a lot of amazing stories.
oh,
So
thank you.
can you tell people right now, because everyone's watching and they're like, oh my God, Jacob's on another rant. Oh my God, who's this Kim Coulter? Oh, fuck them. So
Right.
give the people some bona fides about what you have done as an individual, as a journalist, because you have a lot of great work out there.
Thank you. Well, as some of you probably know, I got my start because I lost my job defending Alex Jones when I was working at a small coffee shop in Connecticut. And I just started doing political commentary, just kind of like in my spare time. And I made my first ever appearance on Timcast, and he interviewed me about the coffee shop. And then I started doing a lot of active work, just basically focusing around First and Second Amendment rights. That was really like where I got my start. I started befriending a lot of people in the movement, eventually meeting Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer, everybody thinks that Ann Coulter got me my job in journalism. No, 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 everyone. Laura Loomer is the one who got me my job in journalism.
By the way, I don't mean to cut you off, but Ann Coulter, I mean, I have read every one of her books, and she is just insane in the best way in terms of
Hmm.
telling you exactly what is happening and what is going to happen in this nation and across the world. She is great. I mean, I was in a school where we had a college, prep course. And, I put Ann Coulter on the front of my binder. This was the binder. I put her on the front of the binder. And, people got so upset. Said, oh, Ann Coulter, she's a racist. Ann Coulter, she's horrible. And I just, I don't agree with that. But good for you in terms of you didn't ride on that name. You didn't say, hey, oh, go ahead and, oh, I want a
Well, I mean,
job.
I do
Oh, I
think
want
people were
this.
interested, but I think they wanted to give me a chance. They knew I was eager. They knew I was like really looking for a place to land. And I was working at a West Coast lifestyle magazine. So I had like writing experience. I had experience working with publications before. I was writing about rappers and weed before that, but
Yep.
it was still, I'm not dumb and I can learn. So she introduced me to the team over at National File, and they said, we'll scoop you up and we'll teach you how to write news copy and how to, speak on camera and do interviews. And I'm really great with interviews, as you can see on nationalfile.com. I've done a lot of, interviewing there. I started my own gun advocacy group called the Motivated Armed Gun Owning Americas. So that's
Oh my God.
MAGOA.
Kim,
Yeah.
so I'm, for the viewers, this is kind of weird. But by the way, I am gay. That's okay. I'm not trying to
You're not
sexualize
Jewish,
your
you're
children.
gay.
Alex knows I'm not Jewish. I'm gay. Um, but one of the greatest live feeds I've ever done is your organization when I'm moving out of the house and I'm like whatever, and then it comes to Kim and she's like, oh, do you want to do this podcast? Do you want to do this podcast or this live feed? I was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was kind of wild. You can admit that I was kind of wild,
Yeah,
but
I loved it though.
thank you, thank you, thank you. There we go. But um, so we're gonna kind of segue here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you as a person, what are the things that you enjoy in terms of music, film, and whatever? Books, I don't care. Just give us a rundown because the whole thing about the conservative movement or the MAGA movement is we always miss that point. Like, hey, I like the same things that you like, and my thought process is that if we don't explain to people that we are human and we're watching the same shows, listening to the same music, and even if not, but we're human beings. So give us a rundown on your favorite band, favorite film, favorite book. Let's go.
Well, I actually studied film in college, so that's kind of like my big thing. I really like movies. B horror is my favorite genre. I love horror, like really low budget, horrible horror movies. It's like it's like my secret hobby. I guess not so secret, but I guess I mean like favorite film. There's so many different genres. It's hard to pick with movies and stuff like that. But I really like top off the top of my head this movie Leaves of Grass by Tim Blake Nelson. It's an
Yep.
independent film. It's really good. I like there's another one called Smiley Face. It's the
Oh,
only good stoner chick flick in the entire world. It's
yes.
amazing. I really what are some other ones? There's an a small piece that was done by a director called wow, why can't I remember his name? He was my favorite college
Let's go.
professor.
Let's go. Let's go.
His film
Let's
is
go.
called Some Guy Who Kills People. It's
Yes.
an amazing horror movie.
Well,
Those
well,
are say are like top. It's like a dark comedy.
and
Um,
I'm not cutting you off, but do you like any of the VHS or Get Out
mhm.
or those kind of horror films? Because
I love yeah yeah.
I think they're cool.
I was really into Terrifier. Terrifier was so
Terrifier,
I
yes.
actually, when the last Terrifier came out, I was still pregnant with my daughter, and I tweeted out, I was like, "I'm about to go see Terrifier. What if I go into labor in the theater, lol?" And the Terrifier director retweeted that, and I was like, I was very
Oh my
happy about
gosh.
that.
So this is so funny. There's a film. God, I can't remember the name right now, but there's a film that was filmed in Central Florida, and it was about they filmed it, they did the whole thing in the Sanford Police Department,
Jeepers
and
Creepers.
not Jeepers Creepers. Ben, come on, you know me better.
Mhm.
Look up right now. Horror film Sanford. Look that up right now, because we're gonna pull this up because Kim is on a good point right now, because this is fun because people don't see us having fun and talking about shit anymore. Oh my God, look, it's Ben. Oh, he's got a decent haircut. Oh, wow, look at him. Oh my God, Ben. How many seconds does it take you? Oh my
Last
God.
Shift. Was it called Last
Last shift.
Shift?
Yes, last shift. What's the follow up to that?
Let's see. There's
Or
Last.
or the Sacrament by Ty West. VHS is another good one. Have you
Wow.
seen
I
VHS?
really like oh shoot, the Poughkeepsie tapes is one of the
Oh, the
creepiest
biggest.
things.
Oh my God, that's right. Yes, sorry.
That's my
I'm gonna shut
husband's
up.
favorite. It's my husband's favorite, and it's like definitely up there for me. But it's one of the. It's like hard to watch. Like that, I'm definitely. I would say House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects,
Oh my
Victim
god.
Hell.
So
Um,
you're a Rob Zombie fan like me. I
I
mean,
literally, I'm
House of
telling you, I used to go to where I went to boarding school was in the same town where he had a house, and I would seriously just chill outside of the grocery store and just hope to run into him. I'm like that's how lame I was.
you are so lucky because I love House of Thousand Corpses. And it's so weird because I was kind of raised, you know, not kind of raised. I was raised very Roman Catholic. So by the time I got out in the world, I'm starting to watch movies and getting into horror and all this other stuff. And I start watching, you know, House of Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, all of this shit. And, you know, that was after I had already been allowed to see like Dwight Schrute from The Office.
Oh
Uh
my god, yeah, I had
and
never seen The Office before, and I saw The Office after.
you saw, and so you saw him getting his fucking head scalped off. It was insane.
Hmm. No, he was. I mean, like, I mean, he's. I mean, if any of the rumors about him are true, he's also a real creep. But um,
Yeah, he actually might be a real creep. I mean, he grew up in some hippie commune, and I don't knock hippie communes because, at this point in life, um, I'm 33 years young, folks. But at this point in life, you know, he's like, oh, I grew up in a hippie commune, I like art, and I like this, that, and the other. And then he played Dwight on The Office, and then he did all these other roles, and he disappoints me. This is the core function of reality, where your heroes, people you like, will constantly disappoint you.
well, I mean,
I can
Aaron
give
Carter
you,
was heartbreaking. Like that was
I
that was
mean,
genuinely.
what the fuck, man? Like,
Yeah, I
what's
was
going on
really,
there?
really upset. I mean, like my first time I ever saw Aaron Carter, he was like a teenager and he was performing in Seussical the Musical on Broadway, and I would just like was in the back like singing my little heart out, and then to like think that that kid grew up to like be for an alleged pedophile. It's
Well,
really it's enough to like make you never want to like have any sort of like heroes again. Like we were saying
it
before, like never meet your heroes.
Yeah, it makes your stomach turn, right?
Mhm.
Because you want to listen to these albums and music or
Right,
watch these films, and you want to see yourself in these people, which is what a good actor or musician does.
right.
They make you see yourself, whether or hear yourself, whatever, through song, through film, whatever. And then when they disappoint you, it is like crushing
Well, see,
because
here's the thing about that, Jacob. It used to be commonly accepted that entertainment in Hollywood was for prostitutes and whores, and that was for men and women. You were not like it was not considered a serious thing, and at some point Hollywood got a makeover and Hollywood got glammed up and they romanticized, like the fast paces of New York and the shiny Hollywood. It's so pretty. Don't you just want to be famous? Don't you want everybody to know your name? Don't you want to have like fancy cars and nice clothes and go wherever you want? Doesn't that sound awesome? You're not just a glorified whore who reads lines on a page. No, you are a freaking god. Okay?
well, and the important point what you just said. So we look at Hollywood, and there are a ton of movies about this, and I could talk all day long about it. But the simple fact is, you go to Hollywood, and it is still in 2025. If you suck somebody's dick, sorry, I said that. That's how you get the role.
That's what I
the
mean. Casting couch exists for a reason. We all know what the casting couch is, and we all know what it's based off of because that's how Hollywood works.
well, I'm just upset about that because I don't want to, again, everyone listening, I'm a gay man. I'm a gay man. Oh my God. It's so horrible. But I also don't like women objectified because I have friends, I have family members, I have people who are trying to make it in that industry. And to me, it is really sick that you go out to LA and I don't know,
Well,
you
you made
drive
an
around.
industry out of profiteering off of desperate people who want nothing more than to get attention.
Yes, but when you give that attention, Kim, that's the question right here. Sorry, folks. Sorry. Um, when you give that attention, that's my problem. When you give that attention, if you have the ability to give the attention and you give it, you are siphoning away part of your soul.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a simple fact.
Very
And
true.
and you know, we can talk about, I mean, this whole, you know what? Actually, right now, I'm going to segue to the P. Diddy tapes. And I have some P. Diddy tapes, and it's not very becoming. That's all I'll say. But actually, you know what? I'll say a little bit more. Andrew Gillum, the former candidate for governor of Florida, he's on the tapes. And P. Diddy's in the background doing that. Eric Adams is in the background doing that. So, it's like it's almost an embarrassment ritual that these people have to go through. And I hate so much because I don't like Eric Adams. I don't like Andrew Gillum. I don't like all these people. Cassie, she had one good song. I mean, it's kind of a one-off. Don't really like it. But that's the nature of the situation, is they have to engage in these weird sexual encounters in order to become famous, to get a record deal, to get a film deal. And that doesn't sit right with me because I want people who are able to do the actual job. If they can't
Classically
do the
trained
actual
act. I
job,
mean, like, don't you miss like actually classically trained actors who could sing and dance and knew how to perform and knew how to put on a completely new persona and really like method acted their way into some of the best roles that cinematography will ever know.
yes, I absolutely do. Sorry, everyone. Oh, wait. We'll have a little moment here. This is called a vape, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, folks, but I actually like to vape, so we'll go there. But you know, that is the thing. You look at independent filmmakers, people like Ty West, who has made The Sacrament, who has made a lot of other great movies, and he's done it all on his own, and he's part of a collective of people. And the right wing always gets so upset about collective, and they say, "Oh well, we don't want any communism or anything else." But when we look at these films and things that they are distributing, they have created their own ecosystem in terms of they want to do business aside from Hollywood. Oh my God. Oh my God. Kim took a drink. Oh my God. She took a drink. Look at her right there. Oh, there it is. No, I'm just joking around with you. But you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to have independent filmmakers, independent artists, and uh it just really fucking bugs me when these people on the right wing say anything in terms of say, oh well, Jacob, you can't support this band, you can't be for this band, you can't support this movie, you can't like this movie. Fuck you. What is Conservative Inc. doing for us? They're not doing
They're not
shit.
offering an alternative. What, lady ballers?
Sorry.
Like, come on, like, give me a break. What was that? It was a bad remake of what was that movie? Not the.
Well,
the
it could be any. We don't have to give you an example. It could be any.
No, it was directly. It was basically a direct ripoff of another movie with almost of what? No, not well. The Ringer is one sort of, but not that one. It was literally like someone posing as anyway. It doesn't matter.
Well, Kim, I actually want to hit right now on the idea of what I mean. So here's the thing: everyone that's watching, you know, they're probably already our friends or whatever. But we're gonna put this all over the place, so fuck them. Um, but how do we like get people to understand like what kind of music? Again, I know I've already hit this, but hit me with 5 musicians or bands or films or books that you
Well,
read.
I really, really love Tom McDonald and Nova Rockefeller. I'm really into their thing. I'm going to Warp Tour. I really like. I've always been an emo girl at heart. I love my scene bands, Blink 182, Bowling for Soup. Pop punk type that type stuff. I really like Avenged Sevenfold. The first band I ever saw live was Dropkick Murphy. Like they're amazing.
And they're great, but they're fucking liberal as hell.
They're
But you
so
know what?
liberal. I
You
mean,
know what?
it's
I still like their music.
the thing is, what really broke my heart. There was a album from the Used that had just come out, and it was the first album that I had caught on release. I immediately bought the vinyl. I immediately bought the CD. I was so excited, and then I listened to the copy online, and like the fourth or fifth song they were like the insurrection, and I was like fucking kill myself. Like, are you kidding
What
me?
the fuck is
God
that?
damn.
What the fuck is that? Kim, you hit a really good point.
I do believe, in the vein of Tom McDonald and Nova Rockefeller, in the vein of Warboy Studios, independent media is the future of entertainment. It takes
Absolutely.
nothing to make a good product anymore. You just got to give it a little time and a little love and a really dedicated team, and you can make a great movie. You can make a great podcast. You can make a great music video. You can make anything. Like, you just have to have
You
people who are committed to it in the best way, and you can have, I mean, we've seen that with all sorts of YouTubers. We've seen that with, we can even give a shout out to Timcast, the
Yep.
quartering. We can talk about, like, Isabella Moody. We could talk about,
Theo
um,
Vaughn.
Theo
Great.
Vaughn, these are all, I mean, yeah, these are all great examples. These are people, I mean, like Joe Rogan, he's like leading the charge in independent media. And he's just a guy who can have like interesting conversations with people on a podcast. We are taking over. We are the media. That's true. We are the media now. We can be entertainment and we can be everything else that we want to be. And we don't have to operate in the constraints of PC culture, and we don't have to we don't have to worry about not getting noticed because algorithmically we're being shadow banned about this stuff as much anymore. We can
We're,
create our own net. When they said, okay, we'll create your own network. Well, that's what we're doing, guys. We're going to create our own network. We're going to create our own projects, and we're going to
well,
I think that
and
that does lend to the idea that the future for conservative media and the future for media that isn't run by degenerate Hollywood weirdos is something that we can look forward to.
no, and I'm just so sick of this shit. In terms of, I'm just a man who happens to like having sex with another man. That doesn't mean I'm involved in all this homosexual, degenerate, transgender
Just the
bullshit.
sex part. Everything else I can leave behind.
Yeah, it's like gone. Um, so we're going to end this program, And I want to say, first off and foremost, Kim Coulter, who I've known for years, is an amazing journalist. And her work at nationalfile.com, that's what we want to say, nationalfile.com, is amazing. And she is a mother. She's a great wife. She is a patriot. She is somebody that you should support. So at the end of the day, I sit here and I say, God, Jacob, like, what's going on? And what's going on is the fact that we just had a conversation and it's been beautiful and it's been amazing. And if you want to help Kim,
You just follow my work at nationalfile.com. And then everything is at Coulter Culture.
good. And everyone, you can follow her at Coulter Culture. You can follow it down on the screen at Coulter Culture on X and follow her work on National File. I think she's an amazing person. She's doing great work. And when we look at it, the right wing needs to understand that we need to get involved in these discussions on pop culture and politics. And if we
Amen.
don't, what are we? Oh, I'm at
We're
the country
choosing to get
club.
left behind. That's what
Choosing
it
to
is.
get left behind. Absolutely. We're at the country club. Oh, God. Oh, my swing is so good. Oh, okay. Oh, fuck that. Love Kim Coulter. She's the best. Thank you. And also, wait, Ben Frisbee's there on the camera. Look at him. All right. All right, Kim, I'll leave one about 30 more seconds. Ben, you're looking pretty good right there. Have you been doing a jazzercise? What are you doing? Say
Yeah,
something.
all the above. Jazzercise, rucking, running, biking, all of the above, Jacob. Thank you so much. This was a wonderful interview. It was nearly a train wreck, but I'm happy to be a part of it.
I love it. Hey, dude, it's your mess to clean up. So
Yeah,
make
thank
it the
you.
most beautiful train
I'll
wreck
get
in
to
the
work.
world.
The most
Right.
beautiful train wreck. That should be our podcast name, Jacob.
I loved all
So
those points you said though. That was really great though. All that stuff you said, like, yeah, we are the new like creators, we're the independent media. That was all really inspirational. That was a
you,
great
you gotta
speech.
get you gotta get a haircut. What's this haircut that's going on?
Oh, I call it the fear. I call it the Führer cut.
The Fuhrer. Then you gotta grow the little tag, man. You gotta grow the tag. What is
Right, right, right.
Yes. Yes. All right. All right. This was the edition of this week's Postmodern Politics, and I hope you enjoyed it on the Lords of War Network, founded by Enrique Tarrio, Joe Biggs, Ethan Ordine, and all of the wonderful hosts that are on here, Zach Reel, Bobby Pickles. We love the ability to speak freely, and thank you.